ask you something. Why did humans spend thousands of years fighting, killing, and building empires over a rock? Not food, not water, not something you need to survive. Just gold, a shiny yellow metal. Sounds kind of stupid when you think about it, right? Like imagine explaining this to someone. Yeah, we destroyed civilizations because this thing looks cool in sunlight. They'd be like, wait, that's it? But here's the crazy part. Humans didn't just like gold. We were obsessed with it. Ancient civilizations believed gold came from the sun. Some even thought it was the flesh of gods. So kings did what kings do. They went all in. Gold on crowns, gold on temples, gold on jewelry. Even their tombs were filled with it. It wasn't just wealth, it was power. But then someone asked the real question, why is gold valuable? And the answer? Because everyone agreed it was. That's it. Value isn't always real. Sometimes it's just belief. But for something to work as money, it needs rules. And gold, it nailed them. It's rare. You can't just make more. It doesn't rust or decay. It's easy to recognize. And you can divide it into smaller pieces. Basically, perfect money. But here's where things get wild. Imagine if someone could create gold out of nothing. Infinite gold. Sounds like a dream, right? Wrong. Because the moment gold becomes easy to get, it becomes worthless. Yesterday, one gold coin buys a meal. Today, you need 50. Why? Because everyone has it now. And when everyone has something, it's no longer valuable. That's when everything collapses. People stop trusting gold. They switch to other things. And suddenly the king realizes he didn't become richer. He just broke the system. That's the truth. Gold isn't valuable because it's gold. It's valuable because it's hard to get. But this is where things really start to get interesting. Because once humans figured this out, they turned gold into money, and that decision changed the world forever. So gold is rare. It doesn't rust. It looks cool. Great. But here's the problem. How do you actually use it? Like imagine going to a market. Hey, I want some bread. Cool, give me gold. All right, how much? Let me weigh it real quick. Yeah, not exactly efficient. For a long time, that's how trade worked. People were literally carrying chunks of gold, weighing them every time, arguing about purity, like, bro, this doesn't look 100% gold. Trust me, it is. Yeah, I don't trust you. Chaos. Then around 600 BC, someone had a genius idea. A king from an ancient kingdom was like, why don't we just standardize this? Instead of random gold pieces, they started making official gold coins. Same weight, same purity, stamped with the king's face, basically saying, don't worry, I guarantee this. And just like that, money was born. Now you didn't need to weigh anything. You just exchanged coins. Fast, simple, efficient. And people loved it. Gold coins spread everywhere. Greeks used them, Romans used them, everyone jumped in because now gold wasn't just shiny, it was power. Empires started running on it. Soldiers got paid in gold. Taxes were collected in gold. Wealth was measured in gold. If you had gold, you had control. But here's where things start to crack. Running an empire isn't cheap. You need armies, infrastructure, expansion, and all of that costs gold. So what happens when you run out? That's exactly what happened to the Romans. At first, everything was fine, but over time, they hit a wall. Less gold coming in, but more money going out. Classic problem. So instead of fixing the system, they cheated it. Roman rulers started doing something sneaky. They made their gold coins smaller. Or worse, they mixed gold with cheaper metals. So now a gold coin wasn't really gold anymore. It just looked like it. And for a while, nobody noticed. But eventually, people caught on. Trust started breaking. Prices started rising. And boom, inflation. Yeah, inflation isn't new. It's been around for thousands of years. And it always starts the same way. Too much money, not enough real value. The Roman Empire didn't collapse overnight, but this was one of the cracks, because once people stop trusting money, everything else follows. And here's the scary part. This wasn't a one-time mistake. Humans didn't learn. They repeated it again and again and again, because controlling money means controlling everything. But what happened next was on a completely different level, because soon people didn't just want gold anymore. They became obsessed with finding insane amounts of it. Entire continents were about to be invaded, all for gold. So by now, gold isn't just money, it's power, it's control, it's everything. And once humans realized that, they lost their minds. Because suddenly, it wasn't about using gold anymore. It was about finding more of it than anyone else. And that's where things get dangerous. Around the 15th century, rumors started spreading across Europe. There are lands across the ocean filled with gold. Not just a little. We're talking cities made of gold. Now imagine hearing that as a king. You're broke. Your empire needs money. And someone tells you, hey, there's basically unlimited gold out there. What do? You don't think. You send ships, a lot of ships. And that's exactly what happened. European explorers crossed the ocean and landed in the Americas. And guess what? They weren't completely wrong. The native civilizations, like the Aztecs and Incas, had tons of gold. But here's the twist. To them, gold wasn't money. It was sacred. They used it for art, rituals, and religion. Not for buying bread, not for trading. It had meaning, not price. But the Europeans? Oh, they saw things very differently. They looked at those golden statues and thought, yeah, we're taking that. And just like that, one of the biggest gold heists in history began. Temples were stripped, statues were melted down, entire cultures were looted. All that art, all that history, gone, turned into gold bars, shipped back to Europe. And here's the crazy part. The more gold they found, the more they wanted. There was never enough. It's like chasing a number that keeps moving. But the obsession didn't stop there. Fast forward a few centuries, and boom, it happens again. This time in America. 1848. A random guy finds something shiny in a river. At first it's quiet, just a small discovery. But then someone says the magic word, gold. And just like that, everything explodes. News spreads faster than anything. Thousands of people drop everything. Jobs quit. Families left behind. Logic gone. Everyone rushes to California, hoping to get rich overnight. This was the gold rush, pure chaos. People digging rivers, fighting over land, living in dirt camps, all chasing the same dream. Find gold, become rich. But here's the reality check. Most of them found nothing. No gold, no money, just struggle. But you know who did get rich? Not the miners, the smart ones, the people selling tools, shovels, pickaxes, supplies. They saw the opportunity. While everyone else was chasing gold, they were making guaranteed money. And that's the real lesson. In a gold rush, don't dig. Sell the shovel because hype makes people blind. And when people get desperate, they stop thinking clearly. History proved it again and again. Gold rushes didn't just happen in America. They happened in Australia, South Africa, Canada. Same story every time. Thousands chase the dream. Only a few win. And most walk away with nothing. But after all this chaos, a bigger question showed up. What do you actually do with all this gold? Because soon the world came up with a system that would control money, economies, and entire nations. So now the world has a problem. Gold is everywhere. Empires have tons of it. People are trading with it. But there's one issue. Carrying gold around? Not practical. It's heavy. It's risky. And honestly, it's kinda annoying. So people came up with a smarter system. Instead of carrying gold, you deposit it in a bank, and the bank gives you a paper note. That note basically says, hey, this piece of paper this much gold. So anytime you want, you can go back and exchange it. Simple, convenient, and just like that, paper money was born. But here's the key part. This system only works if people trust it, because that paper, it's not valuable by itself. It's just a promise that there's real gold behind it. This system became known as the gold standard, and for a while, it worked beautifully. Countries started using it. Trade became easier. Economies became stable. Money actually held its value. A dollar today would still feel like a dollar tomorrow. Sounds perfect, right? Yeah, until reality hits. Because running a country is expensive. Running a war, even worse. When World War I started, governments ran into a massive problem. They needed money, a lot of money, for soldiers, weapons, supplies. But there wasn't enough gold to back it. So they had a choice. Follow the system or break it. And guess what they chose? They broke it. Governments started printing money without gold backing it, basically saying, yeah, we'll figure it out later. At first, it solved the problem. They funded the war. But then came the consequences. More money in circulation, same amount of goods, prices go up. That's inflation. And once it starts, it's hard to stop. After the war, some countries tried to go back, but the system was already damaged. Then came 1929, the Great Depression, banks collapsing, people losing everything, economies crashing hard, and the gold standard, it became a trap because governments couldn't print money to fix things. They were stuck. No gold equal no money. So leaders had to make a tough call, break the system. Again, in the US, something shocking happened. The government literally said, give us your gold. People were forced to hand it over in exchange for paper money. Why? So the government could print more money without limits. And yeah, it helped, kind of. But it also changed everything. Because now, money wasn't fully tied to gold anymore. The system was weakening. And by the time World War II ended, everyone knew this setup wasn't going to last. So world leaders came together like, all right, we need a new plan. And they created a system where the US dollar became the center of everything, and it was still linked to gold, on paper at least. For a while it worked. The world trusted it. Nobody questioned it. But behind the scenes, something was off. Because one country started noticing there are way more dollars out there than actual gold. And that's when things started falling apart. Because in 1971, one decision was made that completely changed money forever. No more gold, no more backing, just paper. And what happened after that? Let's just say things got a little crazy. So everything was hanging by a thread. The world was running on a system that only worked if people believed in it. And then 1971 happened. The US president went on TV and basically said, yeah, we're not doing this anymore. No more exchanging dollars for gold. No more guarantees. The system? Done. Just like that, for the first time in thousands of years, money was no longer backed by gold. Let that sink in. All those years, all those empires, all that obsession, gone. Now money was just paper, or more accurately, an idea, a belief. And if you really think about it, that's kind of insane because now governments could print as much money as they wanted. No gold limits, no real restrictions. At first, people didn't panic. Most trusted the system. They thought, it's fine. Nothing's going to change. But some people saw what was coming. They realized if money can be printed endlessly, it will lose value. So they did the opposite of everyone else. They bought gold, and guess what? They were right. Gold prices exploded. What used to cost $35 shot up like crazy. Within a few years, people who held gold got rich, and the rest, they watched from the sidelines like, wait, what just happened? But here's where it gets even crazier. Fast forward to today. Governments are printing money like never before, trillions of dollars, just created out of thin air, especially during crises. And yeah, it helps in the short term, but long term, it raises a serious question. What is money actually worth? Because if you can print more of it anytime, is it really valuable? Or is it just controlled belief? And while all this is happening, something interesting is going on behind the scenes. The same people who print money, central banks, are quietly buying gold. A lot of it. Countries stacking tons of gold reserves. Even the ones that left the gold system never fully let go of gold. Now ask yourself, if gold is useless, why are the most powerful institutions still hoarding it? They won't say it out loud, but their actions say everything because deep down they know something. Paper money is an experiment, and experiments can fail, but gold has survived everything. Empires falling, economies collapsing, currencies disappearing. Gold stayed every single time. That's why, even today, people still run back to gold during uncertainty. Not because it's magical, but because it's trusted. And trust is the real currency of the world. So now the question is, in a world where money can be printed endlessly, what actually holds value? Is it paper, numbers on a screen, or something real like gold? Because the next financial shift, it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when.